What does it mean to connect on an emotional versus logical level? I think the simplest way to say that is, are you talking about just pure facts and data, or are you talking about your motivations and your feelings behind those things, right? So I can tell somebody, I'm a dating coach. I've been a coach for 13 years, and I help men talk to women. That is a bunch of facts that you could see on a LinkedIn page. Okay. Um, it's time, it's how long you've been doing something, and what it is. They're very fact based. If I was to connect on an emotional level, it would be, why do I love to coach? Why did I get into it? What motivates me to do it? What kind of challenges do I want to solve? Um, have I ever wanted to quit? Things that relay my motivations, or why it matters, or why I care about it, or why I hate it. That is what connects on an emotional level. Because somebody might not be able to connect with you on facts, right? I'm a dating coach. How many other dating coaches have you met in your life, like personally? Probably none, or probably most people don't, and they can't relate to that. But we all have the same human experiences around emotions. So while they can't relate to me being a dating coach, they can relate to my passion to solve the relationship problems that I think are growing because of social media and because of anxiety and depression and mental health. And they can feel that and say, oh my God, I've worked on my mental health for so long. Or absolutely, I felt like I didn't really know how to meet people outside of college, so I went online and it made me feel very alone and very disconnected. We all share the same emotions and share the same experiences. That's what makes it different from just connecting on a surface level with some data versus on a more meaningful level when you dig into it. And that's what also makes you an individual. Where they feel like they really understand who you are, and maybe you understand who they are, and it feels special. When you get into that emotional connection, that is really where it starts to get deep and meaningful. It's why we are best friends with our best friends. Probably not because we just like hung out with them and talked about football for a while, but at some point in our life we had some real talks and talked about shit and our fears and what we're struggling with and problems with our relationship, and we opened up and they felt close to us. They felt like they could relate. When we hear those things from them, they feel understood, and that's what makes people actually have a more meaningful connection. And a lot of men think in dating with women it's all about flirting, and that is part of the emotional connection. Telling her you find something attractive in a certain way is expressing your emotions of desire or interest. But a lot of men overvalue only the flirting side of things. I think it's absolutely important. It's half of the equation. But also, if you don't get into some real depth, it doesn't have to be serious emotion, but it could be fun, positive, lighthearted, silly, nostalgic emotion on a date, and really dig into like yourself a little further and dig into them, then you're just one of 10 dates they've been on in the last year. But if you're the first person who's really talked about, human behavior and studying people and recognizing all your own traumas and how you overcame them, and you took psychedelics to get better, and you believe that they can heal people, and you're not really a spiritual person or religious person, but you are quite spiritual, and you like feeling connected to the energy of the universe or the people, or whatever, and you're going a few more layers deep, now this is a unique experience she hasn't had with anyone else, and you immediately stand out of every Tinder, Bumble date, or whatever out there, and it feels special. You still have to flirt, and you still have to have that side, but a lot of men think like, okay, the only answer to me getting better with women is being really flirtatious and really forward and really fun. Yeah, sure, but you also need to be able to like actually get to some real shit with somebody, and I think that makes a huge difference. I used to say this, that the best compliment you can get from a woman on a date is something like, I feel like I know you more in 3 hours than I know some people in like 3 years, or some variation of that. And what that really is saying is like, I actually feel like we know each other, and we're not just having these dates of like two people on Bumble, like, what do you do for work? Oh, where'd you go to school? What'd you study? Where'd you live originally? And just exchange some like generic ideas that could be again found on your driver's license or your LinkedIn profile. So Emotional connection, just getting into the motivations and the feelings behind the data that we talk about. I mean, obviously you don't want to pour out every trauma you've ever had and every pain and problem in your childhood suffering on a first date. I think like we slowly want to like reveal that vulnerability, but also it's not that black and white. And you should let go of that idea of being so afraid of being seen, because it's about where your mindset is coming from and can the person see it. I've had dates where I've spent 5 hours with a woman and we've shared almost everything. And then she wanted to fuck my brains out, right? Because it's coming from a place of self-confidence and I'm not trying to get anything from her. I'm not worried if she looked at me and said, wow, you're such a loser, peace. I'd be like, that sucks. It's unfortunate, but I wouldn't be worried about losing that person. So it's more so where that's coming from in you. Is it coming from just sharing self-expression? And if you're okay with the other person taking it or leaving it, and you're not trying to get anything from them, you're not like obsessed about convincing this woman to like you or to want you, you're just expressing that to see if there's compatibility. And if not, you're cool with losing that opportunity. Like nobody wants to lose it arbitrarily, but like you're like, hey, listen, if it doesn't work out and she doesn't like me, that's fine. Then it's a place of strength and self-confidence. If it is, you're saying all these things because you like already think she's the one and you're trying to like make sure she stays with you and make sure she feels something special. And you're like deep down like, oh my God, I can't have her, lose this opportunity. Then I think it is quite needy or approval seeking. So it's about where that comes from. And then furthermore, that will be how they see it. So if the rest of my behaviors are self-confident, I am bold, I will disagree with someone, I will set boundaries, I will have expectations, I will not apologize unnecessarily, then they're getting that combination of this dude is really self-confident and he doesn't care about like opening up and sharing who he is. And he really doesn't care if like not in a heartless way, but he's not like doing it because he's like worried about losing me. And then also I'm showing all these other confident behaviors and independence. I'm talking about life and friends and other things I do, and I'm disagreeing with her and I'm being bold and I'm being ballsy. Then they're getting the signal of this is from a place of self-confidence. And this dude really is just sitting here to like relate, and he doesn't care. Like he's not, the simplest way I could say this is, he's not just sitting here trying to win me over. He's also evaluating why I'm good for him. And his actions show that. So I don't like looking at things in black and white, man. I think that's where all dating and pickup advice and men spend years lost. They're so afraid of being themselves. They're so afraid of being emotional. They're so afraid of being vulnerable or nerdy or quirky or weird. And they try to find shortcuts to prevent coming across weak or needy or whatever, instead of just actually building the self-esteem and showing that. I think like I tell clients and people on retreats and stuff some of the deepest shit about my life. But it's not coming from a place of like, I need to be loved or I need you to like me. It's like, I'm comfortable with who I am. And if you're like, wow, that was weird, like, fine. I don't care, man. I have great friends and I know who I like to hang out with. And so I don't look at it as that black and white. I think obviously you shouldn't necessarily reveal your deepest, darkest traumas and get really sad and, pity and all that there. But I also don't think like we should arbitrarily say don't get too deep on a first date, because we also know some of the greatest connections ever have been two people really getting to know each other and being really deep or really emotional early on. That's not like a fairy tale. I know so many friends and so many people who've gotten together with people that were like, yo, we started a date and it was fucking sick and it was awesome and we just decided to keep hanging out, and then she crashed at my place and then we hung out on Saturday. And if it's coming from a confident, secure, not desperate place, then that's like the most memorable experiences of our life.